You finished your comic, your files are ready to go. Now what? How do you print it? Greetings everyone, welcome to the underground lair where we bring our creations to life. I'm Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. I'm a professional illustrator, designer, and mad creator, and one of the things I really like to do is create comics. I talk a lot about comics on this channel. So you've got your comic done, ready to go. Now, unless you are exclusively doing a web comic or a digital comic and you're not planning on having that printed edition that you can hold in your hand, then you're going to want to look at your printing options. There are a couple that I want to talk about today. Actually, there's more than a couple. There's three that I want to talk about. One isn't so much of an option, but I'm going to mention it anyway. We'll get to that in a minute. But the main ones that I want to talk about, the options that you have, are offset printing, print on demand. Now there's another one, web press, which we'll talk about as well. And the reason I wanted to talk about this topic today is because I just got this package in the mail from Lesser Known Comics. They're the owner of Lesser Known Comics is a client of mine. I do some coaching with him on my Patreon, and they just finished their Kickstarter, so I want to unbox this. And they went with an unusual route. They went with print on demand for this Kickstarter that they're doing, which for a comic company, they're not a large company, but they do have a number of titles and everything. And I was kind of curious why they went with that. So I've been talking to him. I want to talk a little bit about that. We'll get to that towards the end of the video, but first I want to get some of the important stuff, the valuable stuff for you guys out there as far as, you know, I'm ready to print my comic. Which way do I go? Do I go offset or do I go print on demand? So first of all, offset printing is usually what your bigger companies, Marvel and DC, big publishers do. The advantage there is if you're printing a number of books, that is definitely the way to go. Now, print on demand is you know, if you're more of an independent comic book publisher, that may be the way to go. There are some other advantages for print on demand, even if you're selling a lot of books. I'll get into that as well. Without getting too much into all the detail, offset printing is like a lithographic process where they run sheets through. You know, it's these massive print runs. You've seen these big facilities that do all these printing and everything. And print on demand is a little different. I mean, they've got huge facilities. Amazon, for one, obviously a huge company. They do a lot of print on demand themselves. So, but it is more the equivalent to like a digital print. And then the third that I briefly want to touch on is web press, which is an offset process, but instead of running sheets through, they've got these big drums, and it's basically, if you get the circulars in the mail, like the ads that come out for grocery stores and all that, that's pretty much web press. And there's one company that I know that is doing web press comics, and that's Alterna. If you're not familiar with Alterna Comics, they print on the old newsprint style. Let me see if I can, right here, newsprint style that they used to print in, you know, that used to be real popular, you know, pre-90s comics. And one of the advantages to them, to the web press, is that you can get the prices down quite a bit. I mean, they only charge like $1.50 or so, or a couple bucks for the comics, where other companies, you know, for a single issue are going to charge $4 or $5. So a little difference in the quality, but you know, they're doing amazing colors and everything on this web press. It's not like in the old days, you know, where you're so limited to the kind of printing you could do. Now you can do just fantastic printing. This is actually a title, Eden, that's by a friend of mine, Eric Henson. He published this through Alterna. Also, I've got friends that they do something like this. It's almost like a newspaper. I mean, when you think newspapers and things like that, that's typically done on a web press. The problem with web press is it's typically not an option for a lot of people because, I mean, Alterna, at one point they were offering a program where you could join, kind of get in on their print runs and print through them using the web press. I don't think they offer that anymore. So if you want to go web press, it's something you're going to have to research, talk to companies, and figure all that stuff out on how to do it. It can be done. Obviously, it's being done by Alterna, but it's not that readily available for most people. You're going to have to figure out how to do it yourself. So that leaves us with offset printing and print on demand. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of different books. This right here is The Walking Dead. You probably heard it one of the best-selling comics of all time. This is done on an offset press. And then this is Oil Can Drive by my friend Sean Tiffany. And when you look at these books, you can look at the covers and everything. The dimensions are a little different here, but you can print either size or whatever. You can do whatever. But this is done print on demand. This is offset. And one of the pluses, I'm just going to briefly run down some of the pluses and minuses of each. So offset printing, the big plus for offset printing is the price. Now, there's sort of a caveat to that. You can get the prices down really low if you go offset printing. The problem is you have to order in large quantities. So, I think it's typically somewhere of like 3,000 copies and up, which may not be, may not make sense for a lot of smaller publishers, okay? But when you do print, and the more you print, the lower your price gets. So if you're printing 10,000, your unit costs for one issue is going to be a lot less than if you were printing 3,000, and it just kind of changes with that usually. So if you're printing a lot of them, you get the prices down quite a bit. So that is one big plus with going with an offset option. The other is quality. The quality for offset printing is higher. Now it's getting to the point where, for certain things, not for everything, but for what most people are going to be printing, either way, the quality is almost indistinguishable. Most people aren't even going to know the difference. That's why I picked these two different versions up. The cover stock is almost exactly the same. The thickness of the paper, the quality of the paper. Here, I'll kind of show you. That is sort of what you're going to get with, this is done through Amazon's KDP, or it used to be Create Space, now it's called KDP. This is print on demand, and this is a little glossier. You can get print on demand glossy paper and everything if that's what you want. I am not a fan of interior glossy paper at all. I'm more of a fan of matte finish. Same thing with this. This is a matte finish. You can also get a glossy cover. Either way you go on most of your options, whether it's print on demand, whether it's offset printing, and most people, really honestly, there's little telltale signs that I can tell that something's print on demand, but most people don't even recognize that. Now, I've been showing black and white versions. The comic book I published, Young and the Dead, which these right here, these individual issues I do, these are print on demand. When I get to the point where I do a trade, I'm probably going to go offset press for that. But my books are in black and white. A lot of the samples that I'm showing you are in black and white. For print on demand, if you are going a black and white route, you can get those costs down a little lower. Once you get into color, print on demand isn't so much of an option. The price can jump, and print on demand can get quite expensive if you're going full color. So for me personally, because I do black and white, I can make print on demand work, whereas if I was doing a color book, I might not be able to do that. However, like I said, I've been talking to lesser known comics, and they print a lot of color titles. But I think if you want to do color, it's probably best to look into offset printing in most cases. So I would definitely put that as a plus under offset printing. The other is specialty options. Now, for instance, a lot of comic books, trades are publishing books like this. Okay. This type of thing you can do either way. Once you get into other things, here's a book. It's hardcover. Now there are hardcover options for print on demand now. I know Amazon is offering hardcover, but this is also embossed. I don't know if you can see this here. This is Ukulele in the Crackle Stone by DM Cumbo, and full color, but it's really nice hardcover. It does have an embossed look here. You cannot do stuff like that. You can't do the specialty stuff with print on demand. Same thing if you want to go super crazy like this, a pop-up book. Can't do that with print on demand. you know, most offset printers might not even know how to do something like that. That's super specialty. Most people aren't gonna be doing something like that. Another thing is like the foil. Now they can, some print-on-demand companies can print on foil stock, like a shimmer stock or something like that. But as far as doing sort of like a foil embossed or something like that, they can't do that. If you want to do something special, like have black paper with silver ink on it, like this book here, you cannot do that kind of stuff with print on demand. But again, most people that are looking to publish comic books aren't looking to do all that crazy stuff. If you are, you're going to have to use offset printing. So with offset printing, the advantages are going to be the price. You can get that price down really low. The quality is a little higher in those specialty options. You can do a lot more with offset printing than you can with print on demand. You're a lot more limited, but there are definitely advantages to using print on demand. Let's get into those right now. So one of the main advantages with print on demand, or POD, is you can print in lower quantities. For instance, a lot of companies, you can, like if I upload a file to Amazon and want to have them print it, I can do as low as I think 1 copy. Other companies like Comics Wellspring, I think they have a limit of, I think 25 copies, which is super low. You know, if you can't sell 25 copies, then maybe you want to wait before starting to get into printing your own comics. So those low quantities are great. And because you have low quantities, it's just a lot less. For instance, there's less waste. If you're limited to 3,000 and you print up 3,000 copies of your book and you can't sell those 3,000, you just have those sitting there. And eventually, you know, I know people who have those runs and they've got all these books sitting there, and eventually they have to just go trash them or recycle them or everything. So, you know, when you're only basically ordering what you need, there's a lot less waste involved. The other advantage is storage. You don't have to store these giant pallets of books. You can print them as you need them. So, you know, that's super. It's also, especially if you don't have that kind of space. So that's really cool. Another advantage is to print on demand, at least in certain situations, particularly Amazon. If you are using Amazon's KDP, which I use, you know, I print my, my comic book workbooks. I do those through KDP. Also, I've got coloring books that I do. Those are all through KDP. And the great thing about this is it doesn't cost me anything to ship those. They just ship directly from Amazon, which is super cool if you are shipping internationally, because anyone knows that international shipping the prices for international shipping are, you know, they're just crazy. All right. So if you are, you know, using Amazon, if you have Amazon Prime shipping, or whatever country you're in has Prime shipping, you get that shipping for free. And there's no way that I can offer free shipping myself. So it really makes a lot of sense for me, for books like this, if you are an international company, to just send you through the Amazon store and have you order it that way. And that way you're not paying $25, $30 or more than the cost of the actual book to get those. So now, not all print-on-demand companies can do that, but Amazon can, just because, you know, again, biggest company in the world, and they can afford to do that kind of thing. Another advantage to print-on-demand is the speed. If you have that digital file, there's not a lot of setup times. Everything's already set up, because no matter what books, you know, because there are limited options to the number of paper and everything, once you have that digital file, they have everything set up for all the other companies and people doing books, that they just shoot your digital file through their process and it goes through. They don't have any kind of special setup that's particular to you. So that turnaround time, you can upload it and you can get those turned around right away, as long as your digital file is ready to go. And lastly, and I say lastly, but there are plenty of other benefits to both these different options, whether it's offset or print on demand. But for print on demand, I also want to talk about changes. If you want to make changes to your book, if you find out after you go through the printing process, say on an offset printing, if you have all your copies printed up and you find that there's an error or something in there, then you've just wasted all those 3,000 copies or however many copies there are. For print on demand, it's all digital, and if you printed, say if you ordered 25 copies of that book, you find out there's a typo, okay, that's a problem, but I can just update my digital file, send that, so the next person that orders those, or if I'm ordering them myself to ship out, I can correct that mistake, and it's just quick. You just re-upload that file, and now they're using the new file to print. So those are some of the pros and cons to the offset printing, to print on demand. So you kind of have to ask yourself what works best for you. So I mean, if you are an established creator, if you have a huge demand for your books, if you know that you're going to be selling a lot of books, then I would definitely recommend that you go with offset printing. If you are a creator who's just starting out, I would recommend going print on demand, especially if you're doing black and white. And even if you're doing color, even if you don't have a huge profit margin on there, because it will cost quite a bit more to do those color books, it still kind of gets you in the game. It gets you in that process of selling your books and everything, and seeing how all that works. So eventually you can upgrade and move towards more offset printing, but at least it allows you to test the waters. And that's another thing that's really cool, because like I said, there's a number of different ways. I use Comics Wellsprings for my single comic issues, because I can't print floppy comics like this through Amazon. They have to be large. There's a certain number of pages that you have to put, and that doesn't work for this. But for like my workbooks, things that are about yay thick, that type of thing, I'll go through Amazon for. But I really do like Comics Wellspring a lot, and I'm going to continue to print all my floppy issues through them. They offer a lot of extras, and I'm really happy with the quality. I'm happy with the customer service, and that's actually who my friends over at Lesser Known Comics have been using, Comics Wellspring. And the other thing I want to bring up is that Comics Wellspring is that they're sort of a sister company to a larger printing company that is an offset printer called Greco Printing. Now, here's the cool thing: you can start like if you're this isn't sponsored by Comics Wellspring. I do print through them, but this isn't any kind of sponsored video. I just do stand by their product and everything. But because they have this parent company it's an offset printer, you can start off with them just like Lesser Known Comics. So they're starting off doing some of these they're doing their Kickstarters and everything, print on demand. And once they get to that point, they're going to move on to printing offset. Now, it can be, because that right now as I'm filming this, we've got a lot of paper shortage with the supply and everything, the supply shortage, all that kind of stuff. So you may need to print way more than, like, you might have to get into the 10,000 or 8,000 books before you can go print on demand in some cases, just depending on the paper and everything you want to use. So, print on demand may be, the only option, and everything. And print on demand doesn't seem to be as affected right now by some of these supply chain issues and things like that. So that's something to think about right now. But in talking with Lesser Known Comics, they've got a really good relationship with Comics Wellspring, and the cool thing is, once they get to that point, they can just switch everything over to offset printing, still have that great customer service, and kind of make it seamless. So that's something to think about as well. Anyway, now that I've talked about the differences, I'll let you make up your own mind which way to go is best for you. But let's go ahead and open this, and let's kind of see, what you can get with like a print-on-demand company. Okay, so I've got a couple of things shrink wrapped here, and as you can see, this is the other thing with fulfillment. That's something I didn't talk about. Not all print on demand you're going to be able to offer extras and things like that. Like through Amazon, they're not going to take the time to put little extras and things like that or offer those kind of options. But I think Comics Wellspring, they do have other things that they do, whether it's bookmarks or trading cards. I think they will fulfill Kickstarters. I think that is an option that they offer. So you don't even have to worry about all the shipping all this stuff yourself. You can have them ship that, so that's really cool. And they have the option to do a lot of extras that you can also run with your Kickstarter. There's discounts and things if you put them like as I think it's just a little banner that you put printed with Comics Wellspring on your Kickstarter, and you can save some money that way with your print run. So a lot of cool options, and from what I understand, they also have a service where you can send other stuff. Like, for instance, I don't think they do stickers, but if you have some stickers that you want to include in your, in your fulfillment, I think you can send those to Comics Wellspring and they can include them for their, I think that's an option. Anyway, not 100% sure on that, but anyway. So here we go. You can see a lot of cool extras that they also do here. Let's take a look. All right, so I got the first one open. I'm just gonna go through. So looks like, they do trading cards, which are awesome. I love getting these as rewards. Oh, look at all of the different bookmarks with all these different titles and everything. Yeah, Lesser Known Comics is definitely a comic book company to watch out for. As the name implies, I think they're just going to be somebody that kind of sneaks up on you, and pretty soon they're going to outgrow their name because everyone's going to know who they are. But yeah, some really cool postcards and everything. Love that. And then we get to some of the books here. And I mean, the quality on these are great, and again, like I said, they're doing color books. They are doing color books using print on demand, and they're, able to make it work. Here's another title. Now this one is a black and white, but I don't want to spend too much time on all these, but they're looking great. And they've just got a ton of different titles, and I've been throwing. Comics Wellspring takes the time to put these in between each issue, so you don't get that rub off and everything. And that is really, there's definitely some attention to quality and everything. Wow, that looks really cool. Man, they've got a lot of cool titles. Look at this one, World Eater. Man, I love the design of that cover and everything. Really cool. Different size, and they do all. Oh, here's another thing that they can do. They can do sketch covers, so you can design your sketch on here. Just like you would. Other companies are doing this as well. Really cool. You got sketch covers. Look at that. There's just a variety. I mean, they're really putting out some great titles. This is Digital Lizards of Doom. I've been talking a lot about this particular one, and this is more of a more of a graphic novel rather than the floppies. So they can do both. And let's see, we got another whole set of stuff here. Look at this. I guess they do all kinds of sizes. I didn't even know that was an option with print on demand, doing these smaller sizes. But man, I am really loving this stuff. This is the anthology. I think this is the anthology book that they've got. Lesser Known Comics #1, Lesser Known Comics #2. Man, the colors and everything. I mean, honestly, this is the third one right here, and just beautiful stuff in here. Look at that. I just love the variety of titles and stuff that they do. So definitely, they do have, I think they're just, find them on Kickstarter, because I think they're going to start running another Kickstarter next month for their next kind of bundle of books. But man, just digging all of this stuff. There's another one. And there we go. There. So, I mean, great stuff. I mean, I just can't wait to read all these titles. And that's print on demand. So you can see the quality. Honestly, quality looks great. The variety of different sizes and everything. The fact that you can do postcards and bookmarks and all that stuff. It wasn't always this way. Print on demand has come a long way, and they're only getting better and better. And I get newsletters and I get emails from Comics Wellspring, and they're always introducing new items and just new options for you guys. So really cool stuff. I am, again, if you are printing tons and tons of books, definitely offset printing, and the sky's the limit with offset printing, but the print on demand stuff, especially for people starting out, and the stuff is really getting the quality is great. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave that up to you guys. What do you think? Based on what I've talked about, what do you think is the option that you want to go when printing your comics? Let me know in the comments section. Are you a fan of one way or the other? I know some people are just diehard. They just do not agree with print on demand, but I think you can really make it work, especially if you're a creator just starting off, as you can kind of see. And the stuff looks great. Oh, I'm showing up a blank page. This stuff looks great. All right, I'll see you guys later. That is all. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Also, you can follow me at Serkworks on social media, and now you can support the work that I do on Patreon. If you like making comics, then go to Serkworks.com and pick up the Comic Maker Starter Kit. It's packed full of fonts, brushes, templates, and more. And best of all, it's totally free.